I'm taking an antidepressant, but it feels like I need some more help.
Antidepressant helps, but it's only part of what you need.
Salty can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Antidepressants may increase suicidal thoughts and actions.
If your depression worsens or you have unusual changes in mood, behavior, or thoughts of suicide, antidepressants can increase these in children, teens, and young adults.
Have you ever had the urge to just take one more? One more slice of pizza, one more drink of alcohol, one more puff from that sweet doobie? Well, we all dealt with that problem before, but most of the time, we usually end up making the wrong decision on what to consume. Maybe I can educate you by playing a game. In this game, you will guess whether the item listed is good or bad for you. So let's play with one another. Okay, let's go. Apple, good. Alcohol, bad. Water, good. Drugs? Sorry about that. I think something might have happened with the game. Anyhow, speaking of drugs, I noticed that throughout my life the biggest and most consistent lectures that I received were always on the subject of recreational drug avoidance. Throughout school, we would have presentation after presentation on why drugs were bad. On TV, I would see PSA after PSA that would tell me of the dangers. But I was also seeing other videos, such as advertisements on television in which medical drugs were advertised. Ads that told you how this or that could help you with your pain, both mentally and physically. These ads were always somewhat creepy, especially when they listed the abundant side effects. And I always wondered why no one ever lectured us about the dangers of medical drugs. Why there were so few school presentations and PSAs on this subject. I mean, surely these medical drugs could be just as destructive as cocaine or heroin if you used them properly. But recently, all that changed because I saw a certain video that, well, puts some medical drugs, or at least the advertisements, in a bad light. I came across a video on YouTube that I would argue is not only the most effective and disturbing anti-drug PSA that I've ever seen, but perhaps the most disturbing video that I've ever seen, period. And I've seen that weird video of that car going down the hill and a weird zombie jump scaring you. This is instead a video on the dangers of abusing medical pharmaceuticals. The video in question is called The Unedited Footage of a Bear, but more on the title later. It starts with the bear minding its own business, but soon changes to an advertisement for over-the-counter drug called Claridel, with a positive tone and joyful music. But this soon changes to cover a woman's horrific descent into madness due to her overuse of this particular drug. A montage of horror and desperation ensues as the woman battles a literal inner demon, showing us the terror of addiction, the American pharmaceutical industry, and what it means to lose a fight within your own heart. I'm going to cover the video in detail and give you my analysis of it, so let's delve into this madness. The video we're watching originally premiered on Adult Swim in the 4 AM time slot on televisions around the country. Adult Swim would usually use this time to air parody infomercials, but whoever was watching at this time was going to get one of the strangest viewing experiences ever. The video, as the title suggests, begins with the unedited footage of a bear. The cameraman comments on the size of the bear and its ears. However, at the 30-second mark, the entire video itself changes. The video is cut off and something that looks like a YouTube ad appears on the screen. But this ad isn't skippable, no matter how many times you try to click on the skip button. Remember, it originally aired on television, so it's already out of the ordinary, indicates that this video is not what it appears. You will also notice that the ad time is counting up and not down like it should. In the ad, we see the mother looking sick and sneezing while her children play in the background. The colors are dark and gloomy. The children call out to her, but she seems to be trying to block everything out. But we soon learn that this is an ad for a medication called Claridel, which once taken, immediately clears up her mind and brings back color and happiness into her world.
Sometimes being a mom is like having to be in 2 places at once.
Mom! Hey, Mom! 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 Hey, Mom! Mom! Mom!
That's when I stand my ground. With Claridel.
Claridel targets where you're most vulnerable.
From the surface, it appears that the drug is for allergies, as she was seen sneezing and having a red nose in the beginning, and even the cover of the drug features a bee and a flower, though the ad never explicitly states its purpose. We immediately see that she is now smiling and playing with her children, and overall, much more positive. The woman eventually drives off as we hear the different side effects of the drug listed one by one.
Claridel may not be right for everyone. Consult your doctor if symptoms persist. Some patients experience side effects including dry mouth, dizziness, double vision, reflexive memory, aggression, and fatigue. Do not use if you suffer from high blood pressure or neurological dysfunction. Call your doctor if you experience an inability to concentrate, stiff muscles, sores, or trouble walking. Do not take Claridril before bed or immediately upon waking up. Insomnia has been reported with Claridril and drugs like it. In some cases, the insomnia can become
Side effects that don't seem normal for allergy medication. As time goes on, her smile slowly begins to fade, and she reaches into her glove box for another hit. We also see that there are multiple empty boxes of Claridril in there and on the back seat, showing us that she is a prolific user of the drug. We should also note that her children are missing. For some reason, she didn't bring them from the park with her, almost as if she forgot about them. When she takes another hit, we see that the smile doesn't return to show that the second hit doesn't bring the same high as the first. She eventually drives by a crime scene in which a house has been cordoned off and a grieving police officer is out front being comforted. On the driveway, we spot someone lying dead, covered in a tarp, wearing green shoes, similar to the man standing next to him. The other man with the green shoes is in handcuffs and is yelling and acting erratically. One of the detectives, presumably interviewing the man, stares at the woman driving by. It seems that he is far more interested in the woman than the potential killer in front of him. Afterward, we spot other emergency personnel carrying bags out of the house filled with red liquid and other objects that look like additional bodies. It is quite apparent that a murder has occurred here, and the man yelling in handcuffs is a prime suspect. As the woman drives on, she gets a call from someone named Donna, a call that visibly shakes her up, but before she can pick it up, she spots a piece of yellow clothing in the street. Slamming the brakes and getting out of the car, she approaches a piece of clothing. It appears to be a yellow cardigan, and the same yellow cardigan that she is wearing. Visibly distraught and confused, she looks around frantically and spots something incredibly frightening down the street. Her eyes are fixed on something, and whatever it is, it fills her with absolute terror. Because down the street, she spots an exact doppelganger of herself, a clone that appears as a more feral version of her. The woman attempts to flee and is chased down the street, but the doppelganger catches her. She is beaten bloody and left on the street. The doppelganger eventually gets into her van and drives it over her, but the woman isn't dead, and she attempts to crawl back home. Eventually we cut to night, and after a few hours of crawling she arrives home, where she sees her van parked outside. The light is on and someone is home. It is apparent that the doppelganger has made it here before her, and has taken over her life. Rock music begins to play, and we see her children rushing downstairs to a pile of presents filled with joy. But this joy is quickly dashed when the doppelganger emerges from the pile and chases the children with a deranged look on her face. We then see her in the kitchen where she appears to be in a complete trance. She picks up the phone, but does so in such a strange fashion that it seems as if she is attempting to mimic human behavior. She hears the same music playing through the phone and calls for Donna.
Donna?
As you may recall, Donna was trying to contact the original woman a few scenes earlier. We cut to the outside where the original woman is still trying to get home, perhaps in the hopes of saving her children. The montage of the doppelganger continues as she torments the children and draws on their pictures with a blue marker. The children meanwhile attempt to ignore their mother, perhaps believing that is their only survival mechanism. The doppelganger eventually stops drawing when she gets to the cheerleader picture and instead strikes the same pose. It appears that the picture is different from the rest in its meaning and importance. We eventually see the children peering into their closet to see their mother wearing what appears to be a wedding dress while hiding her face behind clothing. She continues to yell for Donna on the phone in panic but hears no answer, and the original woman is still crawling outside hoping to get to her house. We once again see the children playing games in their bed trying to ignore their mother while she looks over them through the window. The montage continues, but now we see a new scene of the doppelganger walking outside and looking at 4 white chairs. 2 chairs are small and 2 big, perhaps to represent 2 children and 2 parents. She makes a gun with her hand and shoots at all 4, but only the 4th one falls back. Perhaps this represents how the father is missing from the picture. More on this later. Later the children continue to be tormented and the doppelganger is yelling Donna into the phone. But now we see a new scene of her in the basement in a new dress and makeup. She leans into the wall and begins to whisper, talking about a man that she is now dating. The doppelganger then becomes more hysterical and unhinged and continues to scream for Donna on the phone. The video cuts to the outside to the original woman who has now reached the steps, but it's too late. The lights of the emergency vehicles begin to flash and appears to be coming closer. Her face is completely bloody and she seems to be in complete shock of what is happening. She then mentions that she doesn't have a gun and the video cuts to black. Well, that was something, and I'm sure you're just as confused as I was when I first watched this video. It begins as the title suggests with a bear, but then turns into a strange commercial for over-the-counter medication. And then, well, it just gets stranger. The meaning of this video is far deeper than one cursory viewing might allow one to achieve. In this section, we're going to dig deep and analyze what is happening, and what exactly Clarodrel is, and the origins of that vicious doppelganger. First, let's take a look at the Clarodrel ad itself. Do you remember how I mentioned that it appears to be an allergy medication advertisement? Well, that might not be the truth. To start, I mentioned how this video premiered at 4 AM on Adult Swim, but for some reason the ad for Clarodrel appears as it would if you were watching it on YouTube. Also, the ad time counter is counting up instead of down. Right from the beginning, we know that something is wrong and that we cannot trust everything we see. When we first see the mother sneezing and looking miserable, we see that it is her children who call out to her that it's upsetting her and not the pollen or anything else. We see that her world is dark and gloomy and that she's stressed out, and the visuals appear to show signs of depression, and that she takes a drug and the world lights up and she is once again happy. She can smile and take control of her life. The new visuals are very reflective of depression medication ads that most of you have already seen. Again, the entire message is apparent. Clarodrel is promising you a way to get out of the rut, to get out of depression, so you can get back to what matters most. This medication is meant to help with depression, has nothing to do with allergies, as many might believe it to be at first due to the red nose, sneezing, and the box picture of flowers and a bee. Usually images of flowers in spring are used when talking about allergies, but these images are all meant to hide the true purpose of this drug. The ad is trying to deceive you. It also claims that it acts indefinitely, but with everything in this ad, we shouldn't take any of Clarodrel's claims at face value. When we see the woman smiling and driving away, we see that the narrator is listing a multitude of harmful side effects that aren't normal for allergy medication.
And fatigue. Do not use if you suffer from high blood pressure or neurological dysfunction. Call your doctor if you experience an inability to concentrate, stiff muscles, sores, or trouble walking. Do not take Clarodrel before bed or immediately upon waking up. Insomnia has been reported with Clarodrel and drug.
It is something you expect to see on antidepressant medication ads. Even the box itself says that it has severe reactions. When we hear the side effects, we see that the side effects include aggression, fatigue, depression, suicidal ideation and behavior, and even suicide itself. These are not normal side effects of allergy medication. In fact, according to the NHS from Britain, common side effects of allergy medication are sleepiness, dry mouth, blurred vision, difficulty peeing, headaches, and drowsiness. Again, the long list of side effects mentioned in the video most likely reminds you of ads for antidepressants that you've seen on TV. So to conclude, it is apparent that Clarodrel is for depression and not allergies. The main character, Donna, is suffering from depression and has resorted to using this drug as a solution. Also, I do believe that the main character is Donna, as it wouldn't make sense for it to be anyone else, as no other real female adult characters are shown in this series. But why is Donna so upset and depressed? Well, it could be perhaps that she is a single mother having to raise 2 children on her own. We see throughout this video that there is no father in the picture. He is absent from all the family pictures. On the back of her van, we can see only 3 figures and no 4th one. Also in the scene with the white chairs, we see 2 small and 2 big. The 2 small could represent the children and the 2 large could be the parents. The fact that she shoots one of them and one of the large one falls most likely represent the father leaving the picture. This could also represent that she doesn't have a positive relationship with him and the hatred and animosity exists between the 2. We also see in the basement that she talks about to some guy that she is dating. Again, this indicates that she is a single mother. The loneliness and burden of raising children alone may have sent her over the edge and forced her into becoming reliant on medication to help her cope. Speaking of reliant, we see that Donna is completely addicted to Clarodrel. Remember how the ad said that it works indefinitely? Well, that was a lie. As she drives off after taking Clarodrel, she is smiling, but the smile quickly fades. The happy music dissipates and the voice of the narrator gets quieter and quieter until it can't be heard anymore. Once that happens, she reaches into the glove box and takes another hit. We also see empty Clarodrel boxes in the glove box and on her back seat. It may be on purpose that we see Clarodrel in the back seat instead of her children, signifying which is more important to her. After she takes a second hit, she drives past a crime scene where we see a deranged man. There is a police officer crying due to the severity of the crime that has occurred. We see a dead man with green shoes lying in the driveway with other bags, some filled with red blood, being brought out of the house. This indicates that multiple murders have occurred. We also see that the man who's acting erratically outside is wearing the same shoes as the man in the body bag. This shows that they are most likely the one and the same. The man killed his family then himself, and the man that we see is just an illusion, perhaps something Donna is seeing in her mind. We also see that the 2 detectives standing by him are not paying attention to him at all. This further indicates that this man is an illusion, as the police would pay attention to someone in this state to ensure that they don't hurt anyone. The man in green shoes may be a depiction and a warning to Donna of what she might become, a deranged monster driven to madness by drug addiction. Also, earlier in the video, we see that Donna's son is also wearing similar green shoes. This could be a vision of a possible future where Donna's son becomes an addict as well, and one day loses his sanity and self-control. Drug addiction abuse thereby become generational in her family. Immediately after text appears at the bottom of the screen warning of suicidal tendencies. This once again hints that what we saw is potentially a murder-suicide. Afterwards, we see Donna receiving a call from herself and eventually meeting her evil clone who beats her and takes over her life. So far, we see that there are 3 separate Donnas. but they all have the same person at different stages of Donna's life. The Donna we see at the beginning is the Donna that feels hopeless and is losing control. The Donna that is standing down the street without her cardigan and looking disheveled is a Donna that has already lost control and is completely given to addiction. She is violent and unpredictable and has in some ways become like a feral animal. She mentally tortures her children and makes their face blue. The Donna on the phone is the original one before Claire Girl came into the picture and is the one trying to reach out, perhaps in order to help the other Donnas. We see the phone ringing multiple times, as if Donna or her conscious is trying to reach out to her. It's a part of her that might not be completely gone. We see that the drug-ridden Donna on the phone, and yelling for Donna, perhaps in the hopes of reaching her sane self. All three Donnas are separate parts of her psyche, but together they are the same woman. Throughout the rest of the video, we see that three Donnas are going their own way. The original Donna is trying to crawl home in the hopes of saving her family and herself and changing things. The chaotic Donna is terrorizing her family but seems to have some episodes of clarity. For example, when she's in the kitchen, she picks up the phone and tries to call out to the third Donna. That Donna is essentially her conscious. The conscious is trying to talk to her to help her, but it doesn't get through. The video eventually ends with the bloody Donna reaching her stairs and emergency lights and sirens blaring in the background. Her last words are that she doesn't have a gun. This indicates that the police have come for her, as it wouldn't make sense to make this claim to firefighters or paramedics. But why have the police come? Well, if you look closely at this scene, it is similar to the one that we saw before. The sight of the crazy man who committed a murder-suicide was essentially a forewarning to what might happen to Donna. Donna's bloody up look combined with her saying that she doesn't have a gun to the police indicates that the Donna has murdered her children and is now in shock as she realizes what has happened. You might say that the blood is from an earlier attack, but remember that the other Donna wasn't a separate person. She didn't cause the blood to appear, as she doesn't exist. The blood is most likely that of her children, a violent crime that has occurred, and the police are here. Donna couldn't get back, or at least the part of Donna that is somewhat sane, and she has in the meantime committed an act that can't be taken back. So that is my analysis and interpretation of this video. Now, like all art, this is open to many different interpretations, and of course I could be wrong. But essentially the too long didn't read is that Donna is a single mother who is overly stressed and has become depressed. She gets on antidepressants and uses Clairol to increase the good feeling that she is getting from the drug. She becomes addicted and it completely ruins the lives of her children and herself. In the end, she ends up doing something terrible due to losing control of herself and may end up spending the rest of her life in prison. I believe that this video was made to highlight the dangers of medication and how normal people suffer while the makers of such drugs never face any repercussions. While ordinary people might go to jail due to the behavior caused by these drugs, the CEOs, executives, shareholders, and even the doctors that push these medications enjoy all the benefits. Overprescription of medical drugs has been a major issue in the world, especially with the opiate crisis ravishing its way through the United States and Canada. We've all heard stories of people drugged out on medication, getting into fatal accidents or committing horrific murders. The most infamous being mass shooters in America. A lot of the time, mass shooters are usually on some sort of medical drug that has been prescribed to deal with some sort of mental issue, but it seems that for some it doesn't bring the desired effect and instead creates a worse situation. I believe that videos like this are an excellent way to educate the public and show the dangers of such drugs. I encourage Adult Swim and other content creators to try new and innovative ways of education that challenge and provoke the viewer to catch their attention. When we think about abuse of drugs, we always think about the cartels and gangs who push methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin, but it can be surprising that drugs found at your local pharmacy can just be as harmful. And the worst part is, pharmaceutical companies have more push and pull with the governments of the United States and Canada than the most powerful cartels. Always remember to use your medication wisely and never allow your life to be destroyed for a quick high. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I'd appreciate if you would like, subscribe, and comment below what you think about the video covered. Thanks again.